you wanted to, or did you wake up this morning because you had to? That's what I thought. For a few of you, if you woke up this morning because you wanted to, congratulations. You're living your life by design. You have control over your life. If you woke up this morning because you had to, you have a lot of work to do on yourself. Like I did. You're living your life by default. Life has control over you. When I was 9 years old in Afghanistan, my grandmother lived next door to us. And to the left side, we had a neighbor, a lady, a single lady. She was a stewardess. Her name was Latifa. She had an elderly mom, and that's all she had. I really looked up to her. She was 25 years old, I was 9. There was a huge age gap, but I didn't care. Her life seemed so different than the rest of the women around me. She was excited to go to work. She would travel, of course. She made pretty good money. She had always nice clothes on. She would always tell me nice stories when she would travel. And she was also so kind and understanding. When I was around her, I could just be myself. Of course, in the Afghani culture, she was looked down upon because she was a stewardess. So my uncles were kind of, a typical male in Afghanistan. They always would talk kind of bad about her, and especially one of my uncles, and he would tell me not to hang out around her because she is not a good role model. She travels, and God knows what she does when she's overseas, right? So they didn't want me to follow her footsteps. But to me, that seemed so shallow. And no matter how much one of my uncles would tell me not to hang out with her, I would, because she had that spark. She lived her life full of joy. She was different. She was not like the rest of us. One day she comes to me and she said, I'm going to go visit some family members. I have these gifts to deliver to them. Do you want to go with me? I was like, yes, of course. That was like the only joy I could have, right? Just a few hours to escape from that boring life we had. And I asked my mom and dad. Now, my mom and dad were very laid-back parents, not my uncles and my grandmother. So they said, yes, I could go. So I had this really nice dress on. I remember it had like polka dots, and that was my dress that I would go out and put it on, right? And I was so excited to go with her. So I go with her, she takes a taxi, we go, and for a few hours, I just had the best time of my life with her. And when I come back, a few hours later, as I walk into the home, I see my uncle walking in from his house. And I was like, uh-oh. I knew what was going to come up for me. So he goes to me, come over here. And I'm like really reluctant to go to him. But of course I had to. And he said, where did you go? I said, well, I went with Latifa. She had to drop off some gifts. He said, haven't I told you not to hang out with her, especially not to go and be seen at public with her because she doesn't have a good image. She's a stewardess. And, in my heart, I was just like, why would you want to talk bad about someone like that? And she was such a good lady. So I started to reason, because that's what I did as a child. Started to ask questions and reason. And he said, don't reason with me. And I start to reason more. He started hitting me on my face, slapping me around. And so I reached for my face to kind of, avoid that. And he held my hands down and started slapping me even more. And so I'm thinking that, what's wrong with this whole picture? I didn't do anything wrong. Why would you punish me for that? He said, don't reason. Just listen to what I have to say. You will be fine. Just be like your sister. She listens all the time. My oldest sister. What I want to talk to you today about two things. survival and fear. And how much that, as growing up, held me back. And at a certain point of my life, as an adult, I had to redefine survival and fear in order to get ahead in life and accomplish the life by design that I'm living today. First thing I want to talk to you about survival. As a 9-year-old, survival for me was to become submissive, right? To take orders. Don't ask questions. Do as I was told. Be that ideal little girl so I could grow up and make someone's wife. But for me, making someone's wife was not good enough. I didn't want to be like the rest of them. I wanted to be different. As an adult, when I came to America, I was 19. So survival had to take a different shape and form. I had to redefine that. And for me, that was to cause growth, to go to school, learn the English language from zero, take myself to college, get a degree, get a job, a sales job, where I door knock 5 to 8 hours a day, and be really successful at it. And to really do soul searching and find out what is that ideal life that I want to live by design. To do research for people like Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, study their biographies so I could design the life that I'm living today. So these people, these role models, become my new Latifa. Second thing I want to talk to you about is fear. You all know how much in our Afghani culture we're driven by fear. Don't do this because this is going to happen to you, right? As a child, fear was to play it safe. Don't take opportunities. Don't make friends. Be assertive. Be very passive. Because again, one day I could make an ideal wife for somebody. That's all their focus. When today, in our community, we sit around, all men and women of older generation, that's all they talk about, is how much they're trying hard so their kids will have sex. That's all their focus, right? Nothing else. They don't focus on anything else about life, because sure, sex is part of our life, but it's not everything. So it bothers me to hear that. But again, as an adult, I had to redefine myself and be the best wife for my husband, be the best mother for my kids, be the best daughter, be the best sister, be the best life coach, and overall, be the best person that I can be, right? So I had to redefine myself. Because at some point in our life, we do have to rediscover ourselves. If you don't, then you are going to live a life by default. So my question today for you is, what kind of survival and fear are you living with? What is your upbringing that you could look at today and say, I'm going to change, I'm going to grow, I'm going to take opportunities, I'm going to be open so you could create that life for yourself. I think in life, either we're growing or we're dying. You are like a flower. If you nurture it, you'll flourish. If you leave it unattended and uncared for, it will die. Thank you very much.